In this idiot atheist reads Christian literature will do What's Wrong with the Lottery. Yep, by Dr. John Von Beatty at Sword of the Lord. You can get these. If you want to, of course. You can go to KingJamesBibleOnline.org if you want to see these verses for yourself. This one, of course, 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 6 through 10. But godliness, not money, with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. No moving vans following the hearse to the cemetery. Duh. There are no moving vans, please. And having food and raiment, not stocks and bonds, let us be there with content. It's easy to say that when you got money, you know. When you're poor as hell and everything, and you got idiot neighbors and all this crap, and, you know, it's kind of different. But they that will be rich fall into temptation, and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which draw man into destruction and perdition. This is how they try to make, you know, people who have nothing feel better about themselves. You see those rich people, they're going to burn in hell, but you're going to be okay. Just keep following the law. You be poor and everything, but hey, it's all right. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which, while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. Of course, I've never had money, and never will. I'm always going to be poor. Now, I can pretty much guarantee you, though, having money, being wealthy is a whole lot better than being poor. You know, having bastard neighbors that are constantly making a lot of noise and doing a bunch of stupid stuff, doing whatever they can to annoy you. You know, you have degenerative arthritis and stuff like that, so they make sure you have to park in certain ways that will cause the most amount of discomfort and pain. You know, they're rude, their children are yelling and screaming constantly, they're blasting their music, a bunch of nasty stuff. And I'm sure the being rich is just horrible. Having, you know, don't want. I mean, I thought being poor is great. Worry about your bills, worrying about all these things. You know, you gotta worry about when you're poor. I mean, come on. Being rich, well, because they're gonna cover it. Because the more you have, the more you want. Oh, come on. Of course, when someone wins a lottery, obviously some people do go overboard. And I'm going to tell you, I've made other verses about this already, other videos about winning the lottery before, but, you know, here's a little bit of advice to add to it, though. You may not want to announce it to anybody, because you can't really trust people, even relatives, and you may want to get out of the country. You certainly don't want to be in the media. The media don't care about you. They'll screw you over for $1. And there's certain verses videos you can watch about it too. In verse 6 we learn that wealth does not bring contentment. The more filthy liquor one gets, the more he will want. It just doesn't satisfy. It doesn't last. Notice the progression in these verses. Of course, what they're going to tell you does last is Jesus Christ. Be saved. Of course, those of us that were Christians know that's a bunch of nonsense. I mean, you know, verse 9, but they that will be rich fall into temptation and snare. They are easily tempted. The temptation of money acts as a snare. It entraps the individual. Before he realizes he is living for the almighty dollar. I've noticed that about a lot of people who have money. Look then what happens in the next step at the downward progression. The lust for money and the temptation of money causes people to sit still on a sea, determined to drown them in the love of filthy liquor. The Bible says that lust will drown them in destruction and perdition. In this passage, I want to address one such foolish and hurtful lust. It's cropping up all over America. It is the lottery. Please listen closely to me on this. If you are saved by the grace of God, then you have the Holy Spirit living within you. The Bible says, for as many are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God. Romans 8:14. If you are saved, the Spirit of God is leading you in accordance with the will of God. As you are being led by the Spirit of God and illuminated by the Word of God, there are certain things that come down the highway of life that you just normally know are wrong. You don't have to hear the message on them. The preacher doesn't have to expose certain heresies or certain dangers. The Spirit of God is in you. It tells you what's right and wrong. I remember when I first got saved, I had that too. You know, a lot of music and stuff I started listening to, you know. But that's only because that's how you feel you're supposed to do. That's all it is. Because Muslims, anyone becomes a Muslim or whatever other religion, they do the same stuff. You know, like life change. If you're saved, when you hear lottery and you begin to understand some things about it, the Spirit of God will bear witness that something is drastically wrong. Only people that are saved know there's something wrong with the lottery. Don't know what it is, but we'll get down with all this stuff he's going to say. Preacher, don't you have something better to preach about than the lottery, you ask? Yes, but I'm trying to get you to invest in eternal things instead of playing in a gambling casino, losing your money and drowning yourself in perdition. I'm amazed at how the world sets the stage for so many Christians. When Hollywood comes out with something, the average Christian and the average church jumps right on it. Seriously? Right here in North Carolina, we have taken a firm stance against the lottery. I've served on the board of the North Carolina Christian School Association. We have communicated to our legislatures that we are without question opposed. We oppose the lottery in the state of North Carolina. But you have no problem with not paying taxes, though. They don't pay taxes. Think about that. They're going to complain later on about how you're taking money from other people. You buy lottery tickets, other people buy lottery tickets, and you're taking money from them. You're taking money from the poor and all this stuff. And yet that's what they're doing with their tithes and offerings. They try to tell people, you have to pay your tithes. God will punish you if you don't pay your tithes. God will reward you if you pay your tithes. A year ago, I was legislative branch in Raleigh with dozens of our legislators, blah, blah, blah. He goes and talks about it. A man in Pittsburgh played the lottery and won $16.2 million in 1988. 1988, I was 15. He has had serious problems as a direct result of his winnings. He has been convicted of assault. His wife left him. His brother has been convicted of trying to kill him so he can get his money. His landlady has successfully sued him and gotten 1/3 of his loot because she had said she had given him some other money with which he purchased the lottery ticket. The crumbling mansion that he bought with his money is filled with paperwork from bankruptcy proceedings and lawsuits. Looking back, he made this statement: money draws flies. Yeah, if you don't know what the hell you're doing with your money, that's why I said before, and I'll say it again. If you have that much money, try to learn. There on YouTube, there are classes you can take on personal finance. Take them. Ask the people in the lottery if you win the lottery, to send you to people that help you invest your money and teach you how to manage your money. As if giving money to a church is so much better. A 53-year-old man bought his first lottery ticket in 1982. Gambling then became a part of his lifestyle. And how many people really get addicted to playing the lottery? Powerball and stuff. Since that time, he has gambled away $100,000. Damn. I wish I could make $100,000. After spending that amount, he lost his job, his business, and he found himself $1 million in debt. In 1990, this man placed a bet in 3 different lotteries with the express purpose of trying to get enough money to send his daughter through her first year of college. Why not just get scholarships and loans and stuff? He kept betting because he thought eventually the odds would roll in his favor. After he had spent all of his money and had gone bankrupt by playing the lottery one last time and losing, he went home and slashed his wrist. I'm going to say it. Some of you are not going to be happy. I'm going to say it, but what an idiot. Where did all this begin? When he bought his first lottery ticket, gambling got in his bloodstream, and he could not resist its temptation. Maybe it's because I'm way too poor to keep playing the lottery, but I know people who play the lottery, and I don't see any of them screwing up their lives. Lotteries are adding an estimated $10 billion a year in social costs to the financial burdens of the states and their taxpayers. Did you hear that? We have to incur an extra $10 billion a year burden because of the lottery. 43% of the people who call the hotline of the Council on Compulsive Gambling say they are addicted to the lottery. Now, right here's a paragraph before that, before I get to what I was about to say. 37 states have now legalized the lottery. And in these states, people are giving their hard-earned money to buy lottery tickets, only to see no return. Not every week, not every month, but every single day, $88 million is thrown into the lottery in America. $32 billion, not millions, but billions per year going to the lottery. Now, he says this, and of course he mentions later on, and I'm going to read over it probably, how now people buy less, like groceries and stuff like that, because they're spending more money on lottery tickets. First off, that's kind of dumb, but anyways, okay, how much more money would a lot of people have to spend if they weren't paying their tithes? If we didn't have these churches to worry about. Think about it. And if these churches pay their taxes, because let's face it, these churches are a burden. They are a huge burden. Because who do you think keeps those churches? Taxpayers. Most of these churches, especially, you think the Catholic Church, who do you think is going to puts the bill for these Catholic churches around? And same with Protestant churches. The Catholic churches make billions of dollars. They're not. How much money are they giving? I'm sure they give a decent amount, but come on. They are more of a burden. Can you imagine how many billions of dollars in tax revenue you can get from these churches? From not just the Catholic Church, but any of them. From churches, mosques, whatever. One man was obsessed with the lottery, but then he overcame it. When he got his life straight out, he made this statement. It's amazing. Everything I wanted from gambling, I got from not gambling. Everything I wanted after, I got and got out of sin. Let's look at what the lottery really is and why we oppose it. People to whom the lottery appeals. A study was done in Delaware on the lottery. They found no lottery outlets in the states where upper income neighborhoods existed. As a matter of fact, they found where the wealthy people lived, there was not one place where they could buy a lottery ticket. There was one lottery outlet for every 17,774 people with a middle income. There was one lottery outlet for every 5,032 persons in the lower to middle income class. There was one lottery outlet for every 1,980 in poor neighborhoods. In California, 4 out of every 10 players in the lottery are unemployed. They lose their jobs. They have little money. With no management skills nor the right kind of wisdom, they take what little they have, play the lottery, and lose everything. Now, okay. He mentions this, and I've heard before about liquor stores also. You know, the poorer the neighborhood, the more liquor stores, the more lottery tickets. Why do you think that is, though? Think about it. Why do you believe that there will be more liquor stores, more drug use, and all this stuff, and lotteries in a poor neighborhood? Could it be because being poor sucks like hell? Maybe you should try something to help the poor. You know, maybe you give some money to the schools, and the schools teach personal finance, you know, health and finance, courses like that. Obviously, you're not going to reach everybody. But how about doing stuff like that? How about actually helping people? You know, of course, they don't want people to have an abortion. However, we're sorry of that aisle you're on, you know, that's fine. That's not my business to know. But let's face facts, okay? These people will tell you they're against abortion. However, they're also against any type of government help to help these women raise their children. Think about that. They want to cut funding to WIC, welfare, and all this stuff. But they want them to have these babies that they can't afford. And yet they complain about the lottery. A grocery store chain in Florida dropped selling lottery tickets in 491 of its stores, stating selling tickets drives away of customers who come into the store solely to buy groceries. I doubt that. Presence of legalized gambling increases illegal gambling. Here's what we hear. We need to legalize the lottery in our state in order to do away with illegal gambling. That's going on. Legalize the lottery, and perhaps obviously that's a stupid idea. So I agree with them. Look at one word and tell me if it worked in this industry. Liquor, no. Actually, liquor was legal, then they made it illegal because of these people, because of a bunch of feminists. Well, they were not called feminists then. You know, they remember in 1919 they came around with axes and busted up the alcohol barrels and everything, and they got Congress Congress to pass an amendment making, you know, passing prohibition. So here, you want to know what ABC stands for? Here we go. Why did they send the revenuers at the moonshiners? Because the government said we don't want the moonshiners selling all that liquor and the government not getting any taxation from it. So we will start ABC stores. Alcohol, beverage control. Then if you want to get drunk, you will pay us to get drunk. If you want to drink poison, you will pay us to drink poison. Now, notice how he's starting about alcohol. Notice they don't say, you'll never see a pamphlet like this about gluttony, about overeating. Because let's face it, they love to eat a lot. You see a lot of fat Christians. If you want to sell liquor, you have to pay tax on it to get run out of business or get run out of business. If you put it under the ABC system, we can regulate the liquor industry. As ABC regulated liquor, ABC was set up for one reason only, to give the government the taxes off the liquor. They don't care how many people die on this highway. They want the taxes. They don't care how many homes are broken, how many kids are orphaned. They want the taxes off the liquor. They don't care if it places a curse of God on America. They want the taxes off the liquor. They don't care because they don't believe. Okay, a lot of them, well, actually some of them probably do believe. But a lot of them, they realize that's all a bunch of hooey. That's all superstition. Brings the worst people into our state and society. You talk about bingo and horse tracks, dog tracks. I mean, I'm not too fond of dog tracks and horse tracks. They're kind of not very good to those animals. Legal by the state, but illegal in heaven. Just because the state makes it legal doesn't mean that is right with God. A police vice control commander in Chicago said, our biggest problem right now is illegal bookmaking on the state lottery. Seriously, the biggest problem in Chicago is bookmaking? Bookmaking? Yeah, right. Considering the fact that they had the highest murder rate in the country, in the United States, I doubt it. Considering the fact that guns are illegal in Chicago and they're still shooting each other. Think about it. Look at the cities with the highest crime rate and you'll notice that guns are illegal. Ain't that amazing? Think about that. And also, of course, Democrats rule in those states. The state of Connecticut started, well, or at least the cities. The state of Connecticut started a state lottery to cut into illegal gambling and organized crime. The Connecticut Attorney General made this statement. Rather than cut into the revenue of organized crime, the state has been swept by gambling mania, which has more than doubled the level of legal wages in the last 8 years. When they legalized gambling, it opened up the cesspool for all of those who are taken up with the gambling to come in. Really, think about it though. Now all forms of gambling are legal. So it's still, what he's saying, complaining about, is still illegal. Gambling as habit forming as narcotics. And of course he goes through all this stuff. He supports, gambling as, how do I begin here? Okay, some of you play video games. I play video games. Did you know some people, they actually shot their child for coming near to their PlayStation system? Another guy, he drugged his girlfriend so he can play on his Xbox. Some people, they actually play so much that they die from it for not going to the restroom. Okay? People spend a lot of money just collecting movies, constantly going out to eat, collecting movies, CDs, books, whatever you have it. Shopping, people get addicted to shopping. Come on. To try and tell you this is habit forming narcotics, they need to understand neuroscience and how the brain works, the pleasure centers of the brain. You find something, anyone can pretty much get addicted to anything. You gotta just be careful not to overdo stuff. Gambling leads to broken homes, to delinquency, to divorce. Gambling leads to insanity, to suicide. How can a person who says he's a Christian, knowing that what he supports leads to destruction, stand in the choir on Sunday and sing, "Oh, how I love Jesus"? They don't go together. If you are saved and the Spirit of God lives within you, you should not support that which brings catastrophe. Suicide rates for spouses of compulsive gamblers 150 times higher than national suicide. And as you can imagine, he doesn't give you any actual citations. I recently read about a man who was paid every 2 weeks. When one of his friends saw him coming out of the lottery place, he went over to say a few words to him. The man was a nervous wreck. The friend said, "What's the matter?" I never heard of these lottery places. I know you buy lottery tickets like in, what you call those things, Mega Millions, Powerball, and stuff like that. I've seen some places, I guess that's what they're doing, and I don't know why you would want to. But anyways, the friend said, "What's the matter? We don't have any groceries. Our utility bills due. My kids need money. I just got paid, but I couldn't resist the lottery. I've let it blow my entire check. I don't have any money to take home to my family. I think I'll just go out and take my life." If time and time again, it's happening because of compulsive gambling and the lottery. The guy's an idiot. Okay? I know, but I want to tell the truth. The guy is a moron. In my viewpoint, if this actually happened, which I don't believe it did, I'm sure there's scenarios similar, because, with alcohol and other things, people get addicted to it and they just can't help it. Just get help. Okay, the guy was an idiot. You can get addicted to it. Like I said earlier, so it's kind of going too far. Lottery, nothing more than a shell game. It takes money from one vendor and gives it to another vendor, but is not creating revenue that generates a livelihood for our society. Neither is our churches. The lottery literally takes money out of our economy. Don't talk about the lottery being profitable. Neither are churches. The state of Massachusetts, churches and mosques are profitable to the preachers, the priests, the Pope, and those type of people. And of course, like Joel Osteen's of the world. The state of Massachusetts leads the country with 1.11% of personal income spent on the lottery. From 1989 to 1991, Hampton, Virginia, the sale of lottery tickets quadrupled. During the same time, retail sales dropped from $1.71 billion to $1.57 billion. Retail sales suffered. Home life suffered. See, I told you I was going to say that. Lottery attacks to hurt the poor. Yeah, we don't have to read it again. Basically, because it's mainly the poor people. Gee, I'm shocked. Lottery not an important function of government. We don't have to have it. The lottery makes the government the exploiter of citizens rather than their protector. Where the government ought to be protecting poor people from throwing their money into state coffers that exploits them. Lottery changes biblical work ethic. You know, bust your ass, work 50, 60 hours a week for little pay for a boss who could care less about you, you know. No raise the minimum wage, you get, like some people, work at a job for 15 years at the exact same pay, no raise, no cost of living increase, nothing, same pay. But hey, that's better than winning millions of dollars in the lottery. Just be poor forever, because hey, you thought going to college was going to make something out of your life. You even got a degree in a STEM field and you're poor as hell working at a college making no money. Working at a place that makes no money. Yeah. Or working at McDonald's or department store or wherever, I work at a department store now for 20 years. Got a degree in chemistry, Or I went through nursing school, couldn't get a job, got an engineering degree. Hey, biblical work ethic, but get a job working a bunch of hours with no pay. And have you looked at some of these jobs, though? I want you to do that. If you want to. You don't have to, obviously. Look at some of these jobs. PhD in a science field. They want to start you out at $35,000. A PhD at $35,000. A bachelor's degree, $25,000. You're going to college to make $25,000 a year. Of course, you go to a trade school and make a whole lot more than that. Biblical work ethic, my ass. God has the best welfare program. Work or starve. That's right, work or starve. You say, they don't pay me as much as I think I deserve. Whether you're paid is probably more than you're worth. Oh, go fuck yourself. Oh, it's probably... This goes into that thing again, You need God. If you've been to churches, you probably have heard this too. You're horrific, disgusting, low down, stinking sinners. You're lucky God just doesn't... We're all just so lucky God just doesn't just strike us all down instantly because we're just so horrible and disgusting. We're just filthy and gross. Like, what the hell? Who pissed in your cereal? But you'll hear that in church, especially the more fundamental ones that wanted to really, really hammer salvation. And the more liberal ones don't talk about salvation as much, so you don't got to worry about hearing that garbage. Work or starve? What if a person can't work? What about the elderly? Of course, these people are happy when Meals on Wheels and things like that get cut. And then of course, what do those people do? They get desperate, so they do anything they can to get money, including buying lottery tickets. They go to selling drugs or whatever they can. People get desperate. When you're poor, you get desperate. You can go to hell on a full stomach or you can go to heaven on an empty stomach. Understand this. It is the responsibility of the church to give out the gospel and to keep people out of hell. Well, I'm not going to name this church, but church will help people physically as much as our budget will allow, but not at the expense of giving out the gospel to keep people out of hell. God has called us to rescue the perishing, to care for the dying, and to keep people from burning in hell. The church is not a social club. The church is a church. This nation has gotten lazy. We have become couch potatoes. We once had to get up and switch television channels. And here they go, bitching about technology. Even in the 1800s, if you read sermons from the 1800s, they bitched about technology. They really, really hate technology. Because, good times, technology, things like that. When people are happier, they turn away from this God of theirs, and they're not happy about it. Look at Europe. That's why they prefer. That's why they don't care for education. That's why they like cutting funds to education. They want cutting funds for helping the poor and everything. Because the poor people can get you, the more they can get you on their religion. If you don't believe me, just look at some YouTube channels. Just watch the news, and go to a few churches. Read a few of these. Lottery creates a new generation of gamblers. Some of this new generation of gamblers will eventually become compulsive gamblers. It is the same problem one has who takes a social drink. He declares, it will never lead me to become a chronic alcoholic. But in many instances it does exactly that. That the one who starts the gambling process in a simple and innocent way was such playing the lottery has started something that eventually would take him where liquor takes the drunkard. That's right. And yeah, that's true if you're not careful. I wouldn't play it. I played a lottery once in a while. I'm not going to lie about that. I don't really drink, though. Lottery does not create new jobs for the state. Yeah, I agree with that. Gambling thrives on greed. Not exactly, yeah. In a way, yeah, it kind of does. But also, it thrives on... I'm trying to find the words. And I'm sorry, I'm an idiot. It's so simple. But hopelessness, for a lot of people... that thrives on their hopelessness, their fear, especially when you're poor, and, some other things, it's just how it is. And here's another one of his beautiful little verses. Mark 7:21 through 23. For from within, out of the heart of men, proceed evil thoughts, adulteries, fornications, murders, thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, an evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolish. All these evil things come from within and defile the man. This comes from an evil heart. The commandment in Exodus 20 verse 17 says, Thou shalt not covet. Gambling thrives on greed and covetousness, because gambling is trying to get something that does not rightfully belong to you, something for which you did not work, and something to which you have no right. The Ten Commandments. He only gives you part of it. That's commandment number 10. Thou shalt not covet. But he only gives you part of it. Because that same commandment is the same commandment that pretty much puts women on the same level as cattle. Thou shalt not covet that neighbor's goods, that neighbor's cattle, that neighbor's wife, and then something else. I forgot what it is. It doesn't really matter. It's one of the many verses in the Old Testament. No, some of this is repeated in the New Testament. Women are basically property. What does the Bible say about the lottery? The word lottery is not in the Bible, but it gives us the principle of that word. Matthew 7:12. Therefore all things whatsoever ye would that men should do to you, do ye even so to them. For this is the law and the prophets. This verse is called the Golden Rule, which of course you can find that in Hinduism too. And the lottery violates the Golden Rule. Not really, because people are willingly giving that money. They're consenting to give that money. They know they probably won't win. For an individual to take advantage of the losers, the less skilled, the disadvantaged, the down and out, and the weak is not the will of Christ. Jesus taught us to put ourselves in that other person's place and treat the other person like we want to be treated. That's right. And then he goes, and of course here's, in order for one to win the lottery, thousands have to lose. You're exploiting thousands when you win. And that is wrong. No, I'm not exploiting nobody if I were to win. And when I lose, and I always lose the lottery, nobody's exploiting me because I choose to spend $1 on a lottery ticket. Okay? Can you see Jesus standing at the casino rolling dice? Actually, yeah. Can you see him in the poor section of town buying lottery tickets and saying, I sure hope I win? Well, he's Jesus. He's supposed to be God. He's going to win. I know that's another thing I love about religion, though, about this Jesus character. Okay? They tell you, oh, Jesus died and suffered for you. He was beaten and nailed to the cross. He died and rose again, paid for your sins. Okay, now let me ask you this question, though. You could, all these starving children, miserable, they're starving, or they have horrible diseases, you knew you could save them. All you have to do is walk like this through fire. I mean the whole city of fire. You have to walk through it. But here's the caveat. That fire will not burn you, and you will not feel that fire. Would you do it? Of course you would, because there are no consequences. Well, this Jesus character is the same thing. He's supposed to be God, right? Therefore, he did not suffer. He did not suffer the beatings and all this stuff. What is it, a weekend? Just like a little, that's it. Be forgotten. In eternity. It's one time that happens to him throughout an eternity. I mean, come on. And being there for a weekend, I mean, come on. How inconvenient. He's not really dead. He knows what he is. He can do whatever he wants. No one else can say that in this world. Okay? It isn't one of those things that, what can you do for God? What would you do for God if you knew you would not fail? I heard a preacher preach on a sermon like that. Well, that's the thing. If I knew I could not fail, I would do a lot of things. I would be a billionaire right now. I would help the poor. I would help these poor children that are suffering with horrible diseases and all the other miseries that are happening to children. So bringing up this Jesus character, I mean, come on. I have a bunch of disciples to feed. I sure hope my number comes up. I have to build a church. Can you see Jesus playing the lottery? He broke the fish and made thousands of fish to feed people for one fish. He was a God. So he was supposed to be God. You know, of course I don't believe in God, but you know, he's supposed to be a God. He knew what he can do. I'm sorry, but religion just seems so ridiculous. I can't even believe that I was even fooled by it at one point. You say, preacher, you know Jesus wouldn't do that. No, he certainly wouldn't. And his children wouldn't do it either if they are living for him. When the lottery in our country is taking money from poor people who are doing without, we're not treating them like we want to be treated. And we are allowing our government to exploit people. Jesus said that is wrong. We stand up and speak out against the lottery. It is an evil in our society, and we are strongly opposed to it. What's wrong with the lottery? Bye-bye.